I'm going to click record now.
Hell yeah.
You got the Audacity running?
I do have the Audacity.
How was your trip to Menards?
Oh, it was fantastic. You guys messaged me, and I was like, oh, like I already have everything that I need. Like I don't need to like walk around for like an hour and a half aimlessly. So
Though you wanted to, and I wouldn't blame you because you could save big money.
Yep.
I actually need to stop going there because like I have like a Home Depot card. I need to go to Home Depot instead.
Doesn't Menards save you more money?
With their rebates, yeah, absolutely. It's like like they're doing 11% rebate right now.
I don't think I've ever heard of that place.
I've never been to Menards.
Sounds
It
like
may
it's
be-
The best
sounds like
hardware store ever.
Yeah, it's
Sounds like
weird. They're not very common.
it's almost like you're saying mine.
It's like it's like a Midwestern thing. So like you guys might have it in the lower of your state.
Oh yeah, we definitely have it out by us.
Cool. This is episode
Okay.
120. Lots of
How
us
was
are
your trip
here.
to Menards?
Episode 120.
120. Hey. Oh, that doesn't mean anything.
120.
We have a producer level patron. It's been a couple weeks since I've said anything. Whose name is
Holy moly.
Eddie J. Don't know who that is or where you're from,
Ooh.
but
I bet it's Alex. He just has a different name now.
no, Alex is still in there too. He's just not that high anymore, that high level.
So does that mean they're going to be joining us on Discord soon?
No, only the Mark's friend level gets Discord, unless you're Austin, and even if he wasn't a patron, he would still be on Discord.
Yeah, he's basically a host now, so.
Yeah, more than Cody is. Just kidding.
So you can stop paying.
And
Just cancel it.
so we don't have anyone else new other than Eddie J. Not even
Eddie
Cody.
J.
Remember Cody when you used to be a patron?
Yeah, used to.
You used to even be a patron of Drunken Arcanauts.
I used to be a patron for all of the Halfway Podcast people.
Until they faded away.
Yeah.
Until
That campaign
until
is
they
getting
just-
fun. Listen to that, everyone who listens to this, if you want. You don't have to. It doesn't matter. So now, I guess we could say, what did we do this week? We haven't said that in a while. We were
Whoa.
doing 2 short episodes, but I mean, we don't have to do. We can do one slightly longer than 30-minute episode, and then I can just do one on the off week, like I had been and forgot to last week. Instead of trying to put together 2 real short ones, and then it's like, well, we didn't get to say anything because we just had to rush through everything.
True that.
So
So
say everything twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody, what did you do
I've been
this week?
playing a lot of Terraria. That's it.
I thought you gave up on that. You were bored.
I did get bored, but it's my friends all play it, so I'm gonna chill with them.
Do you play it in like multiplayer mode?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, I don't.
We have quite a few people that play, and it's really intense because
Whoa.
really, really good at it, and I just kind of mooch. So
Is everybody hearing that weird sound in
Uh-huh.
Cody's mic?
what?
It sounds like you're going.
Maybe I'm farting.
Like
Who
that.
knows?
Who knows?
It's fine now.
It sounds fine now. I thought, it's shitting the bed now, like Mark.
Oh no.
Do you have your cell phone right
Uh.
next to your hardware like I did for the longest time?
No, it's
would affect
well,
what you
yeah,
can
I
hear.
do actually, but it's silent.
Nothing's happening. No.
Weird. Okay, so that's all I've been doing with my life.
Maybe
Next,
it's crispy. What is it?
CRISPR.
Crispex.
I think CRISPR is a genetic modification tool.
Oh, maybe. I don't know anything about
It
that.
is actually. Yeah, I've heard my
Yeah,
wife. mention
and they
that.
just successfully genetically modified a lady with sickle cell disease and made her her red blood cells normal shape.
Huh.
Wow.
That's weird.
So that's pretty cool.
Go
Dave,
science.
what did you do?
Mhm.
Anything fun?
I went to the restaurant that I think I had mentioned around the
Oh,
corner
yeah.
from my house. Just opened up, and we went there. That was fun. We walked, and a little bit of a chilly walk back, but we came back. It was a good time. I've been going to my pool a lot. But
Nice.
That's open.
I'm jealous.
And
Yeah,
this
so
week,
jealous.
and this week, our deck in the back next to the pool has had some boards that have just been over time. From a distance, you look at it, looks like a brand new deck. It looks great, but up close, a lot of the boards are soft. They're getting a little rotten. A couple of nails are sticking up, so we're having the whole top replaced with Trex.
That'll last a
So,
while.
yeah, and yesterday this will kind of give away a little bit about where I live. Not yesterday, but the day over the weekend, I had to pay for the lumber for the deck rebuild. And have you ever heard of the Amityville Horror, the movie?
Yeah.
So the house where it was about 2 minutes away from where I went to pay for the lumber.
Oh, dang.
It was quite a drive for me, but I was already there, and I'm like, let me look it up. And I actually took pictures of the house and everything. I drove right past. I go, there's no sign or anything. You would never know, but it's pretty cool.
It's pretty spooky.
Spooky, yeah, definitely.
Whatever you picked up is completely haunted.
How many
Oh,
ghosts did you see?
About 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not bad.
The rest
That's
were in
an
the
adequate
backyard.
amount.
I think the rest were in the backyard. It's fine.
Probably.
I'll say one in the window, one hanging out the chimney.
Yeah.
Basically. Although they have this weird, it was weird on the side that faces the road. There's like a balcony on the second floor. So I'm like, oh, it's cool, a balcony. That's awesome. But when you look at it, there's no entrance to the balcony. It's just 2 windows.
Oh, so it's just for like looks.
Huh.
I guess it's the weirdest. Why would
Yeah.
you even freaking have that? It's the weirdest fucking thing. I would cut a door in that wall, and that would be my
Yeah.
balcony. That'd be the shit.
Maybe.
Sometimes when they do that though, like it's strictly for looks and like there's no structure there
Yeah, you
whatsoever.
couldn't step on it
Yeah.
or you'd fall through.
Yeah.
Well, this is over. This is over part of the house.
Oh, weird.
It was really weird. Either way,
It is very weird. I feel like the building we're in, Mark, it kind of has that, right? Like it's got a little balcony
Oh, yeah.
area that no one
But
can
it's like
access. It's just there for
architectural.
looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Makes it look
bizarre.
pretty.
Yeah.
If you look at a picture of it on the web, you'll see it. There's no very strange.
Austin's building
Yeah.
a table.
Yeah, he is
Yes,
what?
I am building a table for the dining room.
building a table. Very nice.
building a house, basically.
Wow.
I'll take it on.
Oh,
But yeah,
house.
I'm finishing it
Wow.
up. I'm gluing the top together and
Nice. Cool.
I'm gonna plane it and glue even more pieces together and we'll be good.
What
Nice.
don't you do?
Really?
I feel like
I don't clean up after myself very well.
well, that's a bummer.
I take on projects and don't clean up.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, not too much. Oh, I finalized my bandwidth like reoccurring task on my server because I hate my ISP and I want refunds.
Ah,
Ooh. Do you think they're actually going to give you any refunds?
I mean, I'm getting half the speed that I'm supposed to be getting, so I would hope so.
I'll cross my fingers for you. But
Especially a gigabit
ISPs are
that-
kind of shady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at gigabit though, I mean that's a lot of megabytes I'm missing. So
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. If you're paying for gigabit, then if I was paying for gigabit, I would want near it.
Yeah,
Especially
I
if it's
would say like you shouldn't be a whole tier off. So like
Yeah.
if their minimum is like 50 or like 100, like you shouldn't be 100 off.
yeah.
Didn't you say you're with Verizon Fios as well? Or not?
No,
Which one are you with?
I'm with Mediacom.
What the heck is that?
Never heard of that.
They're the first nationwide provider for gigabit. They're in a lot of places, but
Huh.
like in most places that you have Comcast, Mediacom can't be there because they have like contracts.
Yeah. They have literally a monopoly on areas.
Huh.
Yep.
Well, the
That's
more you
cool.
know.
Yeah.
More you know.
I'm doing
There
stuff
you
that
go.
I can't talk about here. But
Oh.
it's fun. We had a bunch of people come back to the office. A handful of additional people come back to the office. So we're doing lots of extra pandemic stuff. We're in theory gonna get a device that you can walk up to it and it'll say what your temperature is and like log it. But until then, Cody has to go to every single person that comes in the office with like a forehead scanner and log their
it's
temperature
you?
manually.
Yeah.
You're the guy.
Yep. It makes them feel really uncomfortable too because
Yeah.
it's like a little gun. So like, and I hold it like that. So I'm like, I stand as far
Yeah.
away as possible, and I'm kind of shaking a little bit when I'm doing it. I'm like, wait for the 2 beeps, beep beep, and then it says you're 93 degrees. And I'm like, I don't care. Go on forward. That's obviously not right.
Yeah.
How did that become your job?
Did you volunteer?
Huh?
And he didn't say no.
Well, no, it became my job because the team member it was like it made the most sense to do it happens to be my direct report, and I don't want to put her through that because she's very scared of all this stuff. And since I'm younger and really, I mean, it's a risk regardless, but at some point I won't have to do it. I really, and I'm there the earliest right now. We were supposed to switch off, and Mark made the joke that since he's already had the virus, that he should be the one doing it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Nobody asked me to, and I'm not volunteering.
Yeah, we'll talk
We're
about
starting
it tomorrow.
We're starting that tomorrow. At my place. We're supposed to be going back full time tomorrow. So.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
You're required back?
Yeah.
Wow,
And-
we're not even doing that.
And I know a lot of people are not happy. So tomorrow should be very interesting at my place.
Gyms are opening up in Michigan in 2 days, so that'll be fun.
well, assuming the governor doesn't get the appeals court, the Sixth Circuit Appeals Court, to put a stay on that.
Yeah, we'll see.
But my gym has already sent out emails, so she better not. It's like, just
Yeah.
whatever. It's fine.
Yep.
Anyway, Cody, what do you
Okay.
have for us?
I have
Ready to
some
brew.
questions.
Uh-oh.
I almost said the breaking news.
Oh, we don't
Ready
get to
to
hear the noise
brew.
anymore. I forgot.
Ready to brew.
Why not?
There it is.
Ready
Because I hadn't. Oh man, it's just Dave can do it. Okay, Dave, we're gonna start with you because you're in the top right of my screen. So
Nice.
you're first up. We have 4 questions per person. I went above and beyond this time. This is the first time I've done actual work for the podcast. But for your first question, what social media communication app has apologized for and removed its "Smile to Break the Chains" Juneteenth filter?
Instagram.
Ooh, close. It was Snapchat.
No.
Ah, people still
That's-
use that?
Yeah,
I
it was
know.
kind of backwards because like the whole idea is, freeing slaves and they were being forced to smile to free
Yeah.
themselves. So it was kind of backwards. Number 2, what VR developer has discontinued its low-end, affordable Go headset?
Oh, that's is that Oculus Go? Oculus.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Good job. Boom, boom, boom.
Right?
Number 3, Internet detectives. I didn't know what else to put for this, but internet detectives believe that what recently announced game console will be one of the largest ever?
PlayStation 5?
Good job. Look at that. You're a rock star
I
right
think
now.
by internet detectives, he means Reddit users.
That's actually, I really feel like that's probably what it was.
Probably.
And your last question, what cell phone service provider went down for most of the country for several hours this past week?
Well, it didn't happen to me, so I don't think it was Sprint. I'm gonna throw a dart at AT&T.
Oh,
No.
close. It is another GSM.
It's the one that Sprint
T-Mobile.
merged with T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Ah,
It
Yep,
affected
there's still-
me.
Yeah, it affected me as
Did
well.
it?
It affected
Oh, shit.
multi-factor authentication stuff for us. It was such a
I was
pain.
on
I'm
it.
pretty sure it's just because yeah, Mark, it affected you too.
I'm
so-
on Wi-Fi, and iMessage it was not affected on Wi-Fi.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I can
So-
still message anyone with an iPhone.
I
I wonder if you
use
can still do the Wi-Fi calling. Can you still do that?
Hmm?
I guess probably, yeah.
Probably. I
It's
don't
too
call
late
them.
now.
maybe.
Yeah.
I use Google Fi, so like I jump between cell carriers, and
Mhm.
I was not hitting T-Mobile. Anytime that I hit one of their IPs, I had to like turn off my data and turn it back on.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm on Google Fi too, but for iPhone, it only you can't switch between because they don't like that's just not supported. So it's basically I just have T-Mobile. I'm only on T-Mobile towers apparently.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys
Well,
don't have a
good
SIM
job.
Ready
card,
to
do you?
brew.
Can we get a board?
Do Apple phones have SIM cards?
Yeah, you can also do eSIM.
Nice. Okay, Austin, here are your 4 questions. Try to beat Dave's 50%. Your first one being, what e-commerce giant defended against the largest ever recorded DDoS attack with a peak traffic volume of 2.3 terabits per second?
Whoa.
AWS, Amazon.
Good job. Look at you. You even went AWS. I was going to accept Amazon. Your second question, this one you may not know. Wise, a low-cost tech developer focused on security, has officially announced a battery-powered outdoor what?
I already know.
Battery powered. What? Wait, Wise.
Yeah,
Wise.
Wise.
WYZE. They focus on
Oh.
security.
have a
I'm
picture
gonna
of it right
say a battery powered outdoor camera.
Look at you. Good job.
There it is.
That's actually
Coming
super
tomorrow.
because like
Yeah,
sometimes like you just have one like ready to swap it out with, and you just charge it up and
Yeah, a friend of mine has his Wise camera outside for the last 2 years. A regular
Yep.
indoor camera outside, getting hit by rain and snow. It has not failed.
Same
Weird.
with mine. I have 3 or
Amazing.
4 of them outside right now, and I cannot wait for the outdoor one. The outdoor one's really cool because you can actually have a travel mode, and you can bring it on, to a hotel, to campsites and stuff. It doesn't need Wi-Fi.
That's
Um,
freaking
So
cool.
does it just save to like a SIM card then?
It does have an SD card on there, but
Yeah,
it
you can
creates its
tell.
own little SSID, kind of like what a smart speaker would,
That's freaking
so that you
cool.
can connect to it. So yeah, I think it's amazing. You bring it to a campsite and you let it, watch your stuff when you're gone, or to the beach,
Yeah.
or whatever. Number 3, what live streaming platform, well known for signing Ninja and taking him away from Twitch, is officially shutting down after only 4 years in business?
Mixer, and they are partnering with Facebook Gaming in
Yeah.
order to move all their stuff over, which I think is a horrible idea.
Well, that good job. And
Nice.
more oddly is that they signed all of these like really competitive, high-paid gamers, and then they just released them all from their contract. Didn't even force them to go over to Facebook.
Ninja gets to keep $30 million.
Yeah, like
He's
didn't
just-
even have to complete his contract.
He was there for what, like 2 years, maybe?
Yeah. Yep. Well, good job. Your 4th question. Let's see if you can go for 100%. iOS 14 has released with what 12-year-old feature made popular by Android?
Widgets.
Look at that. Holy moly, 100%.
I
Bow, bow,
watched
bow.
that, and as soon as I saw like the widget screen, I messaged my whole work group chat. I'm like, they stole it. Like, this is not even fair. Like, they're just recycling stuff now, and
Yep.
everybody's going crazy.
Well, there was the entire article on Verge's website, or The Verge, was like what features did Apple just steal and put into iOS 14? And apparently, like the app drawer and
Where does
a
the list
bunch
go?
of other stuff is basically just typical Android stuff. And then they were talking about how Android, its very first iteration, had widgets. Like that's
So-
what built up that system.
Yeah, it
I'll-
did.
I'll go something even a little further on that. So, Android in its first iteration had multimedia messaging.
Mhm.
Apple did not. In iOS 1.0, they did not have multimedia. Like, you wouldn't get the message.
How long
Well-
did it take for iOS to get copy and paste?
Yeah.
Like 10 years or something like that? I don't know, 8 years?
I have no idea. But
They
like
didn't have it for
multimedia
a long
messaging
time.
didn't
Yeah.
come out until the iPhone 3G. They didn't even address it in like an iOS update. Like, it was just
Yeah.
straight up not even available in that version.
Well,
And
I
then there's like
yeah.
a bunch of stuff like that.
I feel like we can all agree that Apple isn't really on the edge of creating new innovative technology. They're just very good at perfecting technology that already exists.
And
Because
has for
their
a long time.
devices are incredible
Yeah.
and they
Don't-
can optimize them to an extreme degree, but
Don't worry,
it's
the
not like
the new Watch OS has brand new features such as sleep
health and fitness
tracking.
Yeah, it's like
Or hand washing. What's it
Yeah.
called? Like
timer.
intelligence. Like it can
Yeah.
tell when you're doing that. Now there's another particular motion that I won't say out loud that is similar to hand washing.
Yeah.
So I'm
That's
just
a
waiting
different
for those
show.
memes to come out.
That's for a different show. Yeah.
yep. Okay, well you got 100%. It's gonna
Ready
be
to
tough for Mark
brew.
to beat that.
Yeah.
You ready to
As
Mark?
long as it's not video game questions, it should be okay.
Oh, well,
no,
they're all
none of
video.
these are video game.
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Mark.
I love it. I love it.
Thought that Dave said it.
Yeah, exactly. It gets super confusing, and Mark plays it at just
Technically,
the
he
right
did.
time.
He played it
Dave
before I
did say it, technically.
No.
See, I don't know who said it because I have Dave's face covered with my Word document.
I'm gonna put my mic over my face so you can never see.
Yeah, that's
Me
just like
too.
I roll.
Oh, but that doesn't
I'm
matter
not
for
even
me.
here right now. Okay, Marky Mark, for your first question, What mobile application store is under scrutiny by House Antitrust Committee members as the store continues to charge 30%
Yeah.
of all app purchases on its storefront?
This is a really hardcore anti-Apple episode today,
I
apparently.
didn't mean. So the reason that this is coming up is, didn't Apple just have like some conference or big seminar thing, and The Verge's website was 3 pages of Apple. It was
Yeah.
insane. But yes,
So-
30%.
Something
Worldwide.
that goes a little even crazier. Like they have like something going on with a particular app,
Yeah.
like developer right now.
Yeah.
And right before WWDC like was supposed to start, they let the app like back in because they
Yeah,
didn't want to get scrutinized at the conference.
Yeah.
I did read that article as well. I can't remember what the app's name was, but they
It was
also just
it was
came
a-
out
an email
today
app.
saying
But-
that they will allow tech developers, or rather app developers, to challenge and go against the rules with adequate reasons. So
It was the developer
we'll
of Basecamp. I don't remember what the app is called. It's an email kind of app, but anyway.
yeah. Okay, number
Yeah.
2. What tech manufacturer has announced it's ending production of its signature self-balancing scooters?
Oh.
Segway?
Yeah, they're finally no
That's
longer
I was like,
manufacturing
is there other
their normal
self-balancing scooters?
Segway transport scooters or whatever they're called. Okay, number 3.
Segway.
Let's see if you can go for it. What on-demand transportation company vows that 100% of its vehicles will be electric by 2030?
Oh, that's all a long way away, though.
It is.
It's
Well,
Tesla.
10 years.
Yeah.
It's one of the
I
big 2.
mean, Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm like. I haven't read anything about this, so Lyft?
Hey, look at you
Yay!
go! Okay. Your last one, and you only have to get one of these, but if you get both, you get a bonus point. You can beat Austin.
Hell
What
yeah.
social media platforms will let users turn off all political ads for the 2020 election?
Well, it
I have
won't
a
be
guess.
Facebook, I imagine, because they love political ads. Any revenue they can get. Cody's making a face, so that means it has to be Facebook and Instagram, but that's cheating.
It was Facebook and Instagram, but you said it's definitely not Facebook.
Well, that just
Yeah,
means that
Face-
they're not willing to monitor it or edit what goes up. So they're just like, you can't.
Correct. Well, you know what that means.
You don't have to
Austin
see
is our
anything.
winner, and this week he wins. Mark, what does he win?
Nothing.
Our admiration, and we're all very impressed.
Yes, you did a great job. It's kind of terrifying how good at this you are, but
I am on Reddit and Google News all day. That's just. what
I'll
I
try to
do.
get more difficult questions next time.
Like if you go like super in depth into a topic, you'd probably stump me. But like just like headline like answers, like I know a lot of them.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm gonna get you.
I haven't read through all of these Reddit stories, but till_u_rock wrote this. Let's see. I don't like to read their intro stuff. SMB, who outgrew their office and in-office data center, migrated to a new office building and most things out to a data center. Okay. There was, however, still a few things in the old office building and a rapidly looming end-of-lease date by which point the office had to be empty. So we come to the problem. I don't recall the name of the server. It's around 2009 or so, and the server was an ML350, which wasn't particularly new even at the time. The server had some crucial software we needed for 6 more months. The old office only had a 2 megabit leased line, and the server had a lot of data with the software. Of course, the office was closing in 3 months, so a review was done. Do we attempt to migrate the data? They have lots of spelling errors in this. Well, it's not needed for 6 more months, at which point it can all go. It would have taken a lot of time and effort to build a replacement server and migrate the data. Do we power it down and move it? Nope, can't do that either. Server so flaky it might never come back up. In comes the hero of our story. We'll call him Phil because it seems to fit. Phil suggests we simply move the server without powering it down. The server has 2 power supplies. If we take the spare rack mount UPS and put it in the car, run a long power cord to the server, we can carry it down the stairs while it's running and then get it in the car. We can move it while it's powered on and get it into the new
my
rack.
God.
Simple.
Are you kidding me?
That's
Sound-
They did that, they
sounded-
did that on Seinfeld with Frogger.
Yeah. Sounded
They
horrendous.
literally did that.
So of course
That's
we got the let's
genius.
do it mandate. This is the way the beautiful, horrendous piece of IT went down. UPS sat in the car trunk, they say boot, so this must be in Europe somewhere, with a power cord waiting for the server. Using the wall sockets on the way from the upstairs server room to the car park, multiple different power cords were daisy-chained into the 2 power supplies of the server until a long extension lead got it out the door and into the car trunk.
That's awesome.
The nerve-wracking 5-mile car ride with a continually beeping UPS warning its mains power was off and spinning SCSI disks then took place. The carry of the server and daisy chaining of the power cords ensued. Luckily, this time it was downstairs, however. The server was eventually situated in its new rack home. We didn't lose any disks, but a few people lost some hair. And the edit is, one of the suggestions below about virtual machines reminded me we did try to P2V it using VMware Converter, and we would have obviously carried the VMDKs out on a USB hard drive or simple one-disk NAS, etc. We could have trickled out the data for the half hour or so for the drive and import, but the P2V failed because the Windows install was so screwed that the agent couldn't even install the start. Thus, our choices became limited.
That
I would love to
is
see a video of
hilarious.
that.
Yeah.
Video that would be priceless. Just like, like running cables down the steps and stuff.
Somebody
I would like to know like how much power consumption that server was, because that's an older server that took up a lot of juice.
yeah.
And how big of a battery they had. Because like
Yeah.
rack mount batteries, like if you have one that big, like it's a $10,000 battery.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I'm
those
trying to buy like a UPS for my rack just to keep things powered up for like the flickers that I get. And like I had to spend like $500 just for
Ooh.
like 2,000 watts. And that is only going to run it for like 5, maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah. Luckily,
Damn.
yours, I wasn't listening to all of that, but luckily your rig is on wheels at home, so great.
It is.
Easier to move.
Yeah.
I can roll it.
You gotta love big computers on wheels.
But that wouldn't help in that situation because like you can't like use an extension cord in an elevator.
Yeah. Ugh.
Unless the elevator has an outlet. Then your IQ's 1,000 right there.
Yeah, really. You're ahead of the game.
Let's see. Content Bug 2 wrote, I work for a large multinational tech company. I am in no way involved with this new product. The company at the highest level recently released a new flagship product without ousting my company. Think central server for an entire office that also prints, copy, scans, etc. More or less, they got rid of a paper tray and put a server in there instead. Revolutionary. Anyways, they're testing this new product in a remote office that I sometimes work in. One day, my group is slacking off at lunch, and one of the testers of this new flagship product comes over to tell us about it and how we can put our software on this server in the machine. This is the conversation between one of my engineers and this tester. The tester says, so now instead of buying an Azure cloud environment, they can buy this machine and host the software on-prem and have everything centralized in one location. Does the machine have wheels? Of course, how else are you supposed to move it around easily? So God forbid they ever get robbed and someone wheels out the $10,000 machine and they lose their database server as well. The tech excused himself.
Yeah. How else?
I very quickly looked down at my server rack. I'm like, oh, that's a bad idea.
Feels like in a house is a little bit safer than, like, nobody's going to be looking for a server rack in a house, but if
No.
somebody's going to rob a company, especially a data company,
They won't even know what they're
Makes
looking
it
at.
easy.
Like, someone robbing for jewelry and money are going to see a server and go, that's just a computer, and then not even give a
Like-
shit about it.
At least like put it up on some system where like you put levers down to where like you have to scoot the wheels under and then like set the rack back down on top of them.
yeah.
That'd be a good idea. And then just like lock up the wheel somewhere.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Anon22346 for some reason writes, for the
334 was taken.
yeah, for the last few days, I've had to go back and forth with my friend over his computer. He bought a new SSD and wanted to move Windows to it. Easy enough. So I talked him through it, linked him to guides and YouTube tutorials, and eventually got the SSD installed. The next day he asked me to come over to his house to fix it. I look inside and the power cables weren't connected to the drive. An easy enough mistake fix. The next part is where things got messy. A day later, I get a call from him saying the PC either won't boot or goes straight to blue screen. So I troubleshoot with him, getting him to tell me exactly what was happening, retracing anything he might have done, etc. He insists he did nothing between me being there and the PC refusing to boot. I try to get him to run disk repair, and when that failed, just getting him to reinstall Windows, he claims he can't do that either, so I'm stumped. He claims literally nothing has changed, so I start thinking it's an issue with the new drive itself. The next day, I agree to go over and look at it again. And the case is a complete mess. There are cables everywhere. I tidied up the cables the day before. The GPU is unplugged. The network card's laying on the bottom of the case. The SSD is still plugged in properly, but it's suspended in a tangle of cables, and the hard disk was halfway out of the drive cage. He starts going on about how moving the HDMI cable up to the motherboard stopped it not booting, so he thinks it's an issue with the GPU. He was still adamant he hadn't touched anything. After about 30 minutes of cable management and reinstalling Windows, the PC was running fine, and he finally admitted he did touch something. Turns out, he tried to split the Windows files between 2 drives so he could fit a game onto the SSD. Then when Windows blue screened and wouldn't boot, he tried what I did the day before, plugging the drives in properly but with both the HDD and SSD. In the process, he somehow managed to pull up all the cables that were tucked away and unplug the GPU. I didn't touch anything seems to be something I hear all the time when going over to friends or relatives' houses to troubleshoot their systems. 9 times out of 10, they always have.
Yikes.
Yep.
I have a
Yeah.
friend that does that kind of stuff all the time.
Touches stuff and then says they didn't. Or
And just messes up Windows beyond belief.
Wow.
Just tries to do something and just bombs.
Yikes.
yeah, I have so much more respect for people that just own it and they're like, listen, I screwed up, I did it wrong, as
Yeah.
opposed to telling you I didn't do a single thing or I did do this and this, which is what we requested, and they essentially lied.
Yeah.
I had a user today that calls up. She had a problem. They use a PC for printing ID badges, and they have a camera on it. And so I remote into the machine. They're like, yeah, it's not seeing the camera. I remote into it and I take a look, and yeah, I don't see the camera. It's not in device manager. There's nothing indicating that it's failed or a bad driver. So maybe I'll take a walk up there and I'll make sure it's plugged in. So before I do that, I go, so just out of curiosity, have you given this computer a reboot lately? Oh yeah, we just did that. Okay, cool.
Mm,
So just for the hell of it, I looked just before I walk up, and it had been rebooted 37 days ago.
Oh, jeez.
So,
sounds about
so
right.
the guys in my office were like, oh, they're all shaking their heads like, what the, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna sit here for about 15 minutes before I go up. Then I'll go up, and then I'll explain to them that, it took me a while because, I had to look up the last time it was rebooted, and I wanted to look up drivers, and yeah, you guys swore it happened today, so I figured something was wrong, but they're like, I thought we did it. And that's all I got. That's the only satisfaction. I thought so. Oh well.
Restarting is so difficult.
Punchman. Yeah, it's really hard.
So I helped migrate our entire workforce to laptops.
Mhm.
Thank goodness we did for COVID.
Yeah.
But they were on desktops previously, and there would be
Mm-hmm.
people that would never reboot their desktops. When I first started, there was a user that had a 450-day uptime.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my
How is that?
gosh.
How is it
I
even
don't
running?
understand how it even worked.
Yeah.
That should be against the law. Yeah, how no updates, nothing.
Start looking
Ooh.
into group policy to force reboot once every
Yeah.
week or something like that.
Yeah, and we patch. So I don't understand how none of the patches required a reboot. It was phenomenal, and
Wow.
and honestly, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, huh, I wish that was the uptime on my server.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
we,
have to force
hilarious.
reboot because some of our software it'll go offline if the print server is rebooted. We use PaperCut, and just the applet won't work, and people don't know where to go and how to get it. So a reboot's super easy. So we just have every machine rebooting every night through Kaseya.
Yeah.
Because
Kaseya.
We
Kaseya.
just installed those on some of our equipment.
Nice.
What, Kaseya?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. The reporting is the worst thing on planet Earth. There's no worse reporting I've ever seen in my entire. If someone out there can write something like a better front end interface for a report, it's got to be better than what they have. It's so bad.
So that's actually what we're doing. We're going through a third party monitoring service,
Mhm.
and they use Kaseya to manage our Windows devices, but their
Okay.
reporting dashboards all custom made. It's actually pretty
Oh,
nice.
good.
nice.
Good. That's what you want.
Yeah,
Every time
we've
I'm
seen.
like, oh, just go pull it up in Kaseya. Everything's
Yeah.
there. I can find the information one piece at a time, but trying
Yeah.
to spit it out into a any kind of coherent list is impossible.
Yeah, it's
You
ugly.
know what I love is
Yeah.
Quest Case.
Quest.
Yes.
Oh,
What's
It was something that Dell had purchased a while ago, and they built it into all their business stuff. The reporting on that is absolute trash.
God.
Like you can build your own reports, but like in order to get to that point, like you have to know like all the variables for all the different like fields. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Fun.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Fake news.
We've done this one every year, I think, that the podcast has existed. June 23rd of what year the Scholes and Glidden typewriter, the first practical and commercially successful typewriter, is patented. Perhaps most notable in the design of the Scholes and Glidden, which would later become the Remington No. 1 typewriter, is the use of the QWERTY keyboard, which is still the most popular keyboard layout in the world. June 23rd of what year was the QWERTY typewriter patented?
Oh, jeez. QWERTY.
You going first, Cody?
I'm gonna say 1929.
That's not far from where I was going to say. I was in that neighborhood. I'm going to go. I think the first number that popped in my head was 1920, so I'll just throw 1920 out.
1935.
Ooh, look at that.
We're all over.
I said 18.
All quite a bit over.
I said
Wow, really?
1862.
Earlier than 1920. That doesn't.
I only thought like 1930s because like my grandma used to say how she learned to type in school on a typewriter, on a QWERTY typewriter. So
Yeah.
like that just like, oh yeah, my grandma's super old. Like that's probably when they came out with it.
I remember when they came out with QWERTY. Hmm.
What was
my
it
impression.
beforehand? Was
Awesome.
it just A, B, C, D, E, F, G?
I feel like
Yeah,
we did
and
an
I think
episode
what
on
happened
this.
was, I think I read the story about it, and then what happened was it was too. People were going too fast, and the keys from the type, because it was so easy, you knew where everything was, that the typewriter keys would get stuck because they were going faster than the keys can snap back. I think there
Yeah.
was something about going too fast for the device.
Well, because it was like just it was basically followed like a grid. So like you'd hit one, like they weren't like every other like oriented. So that's
Yeah.
why QWERTY came along so that you could easily
Separate.
still reach the most used keys, but they were 45 degrees off of each other.
So let's say 1905. That's my next guess. I don't know if we didn't reveal the date, did we?
Not yet.
Year? I just realized we're just going off on a tangent. So that's my-
1842.
Oof.
I'm going way
Ooh,
back now.
The closest, the correct date is 1868. So Cody wins.
Hey,
Oh.
look at that. I was 3 years away. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
June 21st of what year? The first program on the world's first stored program computer, the Manchester Small Scale Experimental Machine, is run. The first program was designed to test the computer's reliability and ran for 52 minutes, performing 3.5 million operations. What year was the first stored program run?
I'm going to let someone else start that because I have no idea where to start.
Yeah. Jeez. First stored program.
Can we have additional insight? Was this like a hard disk machine?
It's a machine that appears to be filling a room, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I can
ENIAC,
tell you
right?
it's
Yeah, the
before the 1960s, so you all get that clear.
first- oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
I was going before
Cody,
that,
you never
yeah,
know.
of course.
I was going 1700s, so. I'm kidding. Okay. I'm going to go because no one else wants to. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm going to say 1909. 1909.
Man, I thought you were saying 90 something.
So
I was like,
you're thinking
No.
before World War One, at the turn of the 20th century is your idea. Next,
I said
Before-
19.
before the Model T.
He said
Well, confusing.
1909 because I thought it was a Windows update. That's what I was.
Ah, yes.
Right.
So it's obviously well after mine. So look between 1909 and 1960.
It is well after World War One, and the Model T car. but before the 60s.
It's gonna be 1959. Mark's gonna troll
No.
all of us.
No.
I'm gonna say
no way.
1943. Doesn't sound right. It's like 1800s for a freaking keyboard. That
I'm gonna say
no
nine-
sense.
1932.
Okay.
The correct answer is 1948. Dave.
Oh, wow.
Fake news.
Oh, yeah.
The fakest.
And then we have some Yahoo answers. Yahoo Answers user DA asks, is it a crime to trick/lie someone into opening an infected attachment that you sent them?
Yeah.
Probably.
Here's the law.
Not if you're a pen tester.
That's
Well, that's yes, that's true.
His
If you're
ad-
doing ethical hacking for that
His
purpose,
additional
but
details say, my nephew lied and tricked my wife into opening an attachment of an infected email. Her email address book was hacked and it infected a customer email system of a very large energy company. Is it a crime?
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, it is.
yeah, it
Are
doesn't
they
seem
gonna
like that
prosecute
was.
a child? No.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
They'll
not a
just take away
child.
his computers.
Maybe the nephew's like 40.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, true.
I
I'm
assume
not
it's a
gonna lie,
child, though.
like, when I was like a teenager and had a computer, I did some bad stuff to my friends. Like we would send each other like spoofed JPEG files, and we would send each other like Java drive-by sites. So like we always had a rat on one of our friends' computer and always screwed with them. So
Oh my gosh.
Nice. So yes,
that
crime.
was my fun.
Yahoo Answers user Bobby asks, how can they just force Microsoft Edge on me? I log into Windows, open my Firefox, left open from last night, go to check my horoscope, and the whole thing freezes for a second. Then Edge opens up with the only option to get started and didn't even show up in the task manager. There's no option to uninstall, only modify, which when pressed does nothing.
I think this was just a series of unfortunately timed events. And I'm fairly certain that Firefox going down and an Edge popping up was just a coincidence there. It's not Windows forcing you to, though they did push. I was not happy with it. They pushed it out hard on this most recent one. Like it was on my desktop, on my taskbar, automatically popped up.
Yeah.
I went to default and it wanted me to set it to Edge. And I do like the new Chromium based Edge, but
I heard it's good. I just haven't tried it yet.
I still am using Chrome.
I'm actually thinking about going back to Firefox or switching to Brave.
I'm on Firefox. I'd highly recommend it just because of their HTTPS, like how they DNS resolve. DNS over HTTPS. There you go.
Okay.
I like that, but yeah, like Edge, like this time around, like it was super intrusive. Like it pinned itself to my taskbar. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I
and-
got rid of it. All pins and icons are gone.
Yeah.
I'm about to go into Windows features and just disable it. So
Yep.
yeah, if you don't want Edge, go into Control Panel and remove the feature from
Yeah,
Windows. That's one
can
way to get rid of
definitely,
it.
you
Yeah.
can absolutely get rid of it. I mean, they may push it back on. We had that big issue with Teams, Microsoft Teams. We would uninstall it, and then every single update of Microsoft Office would install Teams again.
Which we
So,
don't use.
Yeah, Microsoft is pretty invasive with their stuff,
Really?
but admittedly, you're running an operating system that they've developed, so they kind of we have to
Whole
expect
hard
it.
on that one. Yeah.
They did just release it to public now, so they're gonna push it even harder.
Good.
We're gonna get a lot of calls.
Yeah.
What's this program? You know, popping up on my computer.
You're gonna get people that are trying to sign into their work Teams accounts on their personal computer so they can
Yeah.
talk to their coworkers, and it's not gonna work because you're not federated. Sorry.
True. Yahoo Answers user Ray asks, what's the best way to quit gaming for good?
Ooh, I don't know. I've been trying for the past 29 years of my life.
Throw away all electronic devices and join a meeting or something. I don't know.
Move to the forest.
Move to a forest. Yeah, that'll do it. Then you'll play
Just
with sticks and rocks.
Get adult money, and you won't have any time or will to play them anymore.
Yeah,
True,
have a
true.
kid. Have a kid.
Yeah,
That's it.
there you go.
Boom. Yeah.
For some reason, in the category Xbox, Yahoo Answers user Kairali Group asks, "Are sanitizers good for your skin?"
Depends on the kind. They just announced that some like menthol or
Menthol.
what is it? Help me.
I don't know what you're saying.
Oh, like you talk about mentolyptus?
Hold on. Some hand
Aloe
sanitizer
vera?
has been proven to blind people when they put it on their hands.
Whoa. On your hands, it blinds you?
Yeah, the smell.
is
of the
it when
fumes
they-
from it.
Is it like when they put it on their hands and then touch their eyes, or is it like
No, it's the fumes.
Vicks
Menthol.
Vapor Rub. Oh.
Yeah, so it says U.S. consumers should not use any of these 9 brands that contain methanol. It's been proven by the FDA or some federal thing. Yeah, FDA
crap.
stated you can't even flush these or throw them away. You have to dispose of them in a proper manner because they will. It says methanol exposure can result in nausea, vomiting, headache, blurred vision, permanent blindness, seizures, coma, permanent damage to the nervous system, or death.
The hell?
Are you sure this isn't methanol that they're putting on people's hands? Because that sounds like pretty much what methanol does.
That's it. It says that the hand sanitizers contained methanol.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Are people just making it themselves? You said it was brands.
I mean, they were, but I don't think it was for these ones. These were like,
Huh.
they're not name brands by any means. Like Clean Care and ESK Biochem hand sanitizer. They sound like industrial ones.
The no frills version of
Yeah.
whatever.
So yeah, that's pretty intense. Sorry, but yes, they can be good for your skin depending on what they have, but don't use the ones with methanol
Just buy Germex, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
if you can find any.
Or Purell. Yahoo Answers user Bobby asks, "Should I buy a 4K TV?"
Yeah.
Sure.
That's an easy one.
He's got
for like
1080p
200 bucks.
basically.
Next.
He's got
Yeah, right.
1080p basically, but he can't get any of his 4K stuff. Like it'll scale down, but it doesn't look the same. Yeah, just get a 4K TV if you can find one, because some places, like anywhere that I've gone, just doesn't have. Even like Best Buy was very low on anything when I went there.
They're the worst
Stimulus.
buy.
Yeah, I hate
Yeah,
going
get
there.
your stimulus check and go buy a friggin' Yeah, exactly.
Gypsy,
That's what I was gonna say. That's not my dog.
tell him
She's
Gypsy.
not anywhere near me.
He looked at his dog like, you know I'm podcasting.
How dare you?
And lastly, Yahoo Answers user Sammy Sutton asks, "My phone won't make phone calls or revive calls, and my 4G is no longer working. What could be the cause?"
Apple.
Maybe it was on T-Mobile. It was my
no.
first guess.
Yeah, right. He needs to turn it on first, I think, is the problem. Probably shut down.
If it's an iPhone, maybe you've dropped it too many times and the antenna's broke. I mean,